So, recently I've gotten back into a little bit of writing, if you will. You know, fanfic, original, well, kind of, sort of original fanfic. Well, yeah, original writing on my behalf, but kind of based on some things that a fan of, if you will. Um, of course, like I talked about in a video prior to this, you know, which was a recommendation on AZ, as I like to call them, and their character Morphica. One of the stories, or at least two of them, is based around their character. Or at least, you know, has their character as a part of it, a major part of it. The problem, though, is one of the stories I did, I was, the original one that is, I was hoping I could commission AZ to turn into comic form, except the problem is one of the characters I utilized, and I did give credit to the original creator for, at the beginning of the story, for this character. Let's just say, I don't know if maybe they just had too much going on, because normally they wouldn't react this way. I don't know if I was annoying to them, which I do apologize for. But basically, the original story that I did involved Morphica, which is AZ's character, and Demonica, which is Mr. Internet Man's character. And it was just a fun little kind of mature story, which would result in them fusing together into a new character, and then basically dispersing into, you know, evaporating, if you will, into nothingness, you know, and just floating throughout the night sky as, you know, nothingness, if you will, looking for the next romp, if you know what I mean, you know, the next NFSW romp. And again, I don't know if I was being annoying, was trying to message him, which I do apologize for, or maybe something was going on, maybe someone, you know, caused him to have a bad day, you know, besides me by accident, but something else may have happened. Or I don't know. I mean, I know recently that he worked with Trouble R, or Trouble U, I think that's his name. Let me check. Trouble U on Patreon with a new story. He had written a new story that, if it comes up here, that, yeah, Trouble TRO had illustrated, and it was written by Mr. Internet Man. It was called Agent Pink, Bedlam's Revenge, and it looks really good. It really looks really good. But the thing is, like I said, I don't know what happened. You know, I don't know if, you know, something caused him to have a bad day, or he just was, you know, taking like a mental break after writing this story for Trouble TRO. I don't know. Honestly, I really don't know. Again, I do apologize if I accidentally contributed to it. But yeah, you know, I basically contacted him to, you know, perhaps get his permission, his okay, to have a comic done based on the story I had written, or I had typed up. And he said no. So again, I don't know if I was accidentally being annoying, which I do apologize for, or if it was the fact that something else happened. I don't really know. So what I did, basically, long story short, is I basically rewrote the story that I had done twice. I had to re-edit it, redo it, and stuff like that. And in the second revise of the story, I had replaced Demonica with a character that I had come up with years ago. Long story short, there was somebody on DeviantArt and other sites like Fur Affinient and So Furry and stuff like that, called, let me see if I get the name right here, Mocha Mythical, Mocha Mythical, Mocha Mythical, you probably know who I'm talking about. And recently, over the past several years, Mocha had disappeared from DeviantArt, from Furfinian. Nobody knew exactly where she had gone. He, she, they had gone. I think there was rumors that she became a born that he or she became a born again Christian and wanted to give up on what they were doing because that wasn't what a Christian does. I don't know. I don't know what happened to Morphica, not Morphica, but Mifako, Mifakuki, Tanuki. It's basically called Mocha Mifukuki, Uuki, Mocha Mifukuki. Kind of like a take on Tanuki, but it's MEPH and then OOKI. But again, we don't know what happened. But back when Mocha was around, she had created a character at my request, I should say, called Lana the Vor Lioness. Yeah, she was an OC that I had Mocha personally create, and Mocha had incorporated into several stories. Now, I can't show you any of those stories here because I'd get in trouble. You know what I'm saying? Visually, that is, because some of the ideas we came up with, let's just say, visually put them on here, I'm history. I'm done. But the point is, this was long before I came back to California. This was like around late 2006, early 2007, I believe, around that time frame. And basically, I had taken that character and placed her in Demonica's place in the first, I should say, rewrite, revise of the story. So now it was Lana. So instead of Demonica Morphica, it was Lana and Morphica, which now, opens the door more so for a comic adaptation by AZ to be done down the line, hopefully in the future. Maybe sooner than I think. And then the second rewrite, the second revise I did, I definitely changed things up and added a few things. Removed some sections of it and then, re-added, and like I said, added a few things here and there. And what I did, basically, long story short, is I took the original story, as well as the first revise, and I basically, like I said, took out, several sections, added a few, bits of dialogue and, scenery, if you will, or acknowledged movement and all that, descriptions, if you will. And what I did is I created what was known, or what I renamed for the second rewrite, the second revise, Crystal and Briella's Dream Comes True, or Dream Comes True. And I also put in parentheses that it's a non-canon one-shot, which is based off Briella and Crystal from the Metamorphosized to Malleability story series that Jacques Lecour, aka Michelle, is currently working on. Which, by the way, she's also doing a weekly, on Mondays now, a weekly Melting May story, which is called Melting May, which is MEI, May, something like that. So she just put up the first part now yesterday. She's going to be doing the next one next week. But anyway, like I said, basically, long story short, I revised the entire story for the second time, rewrote and revised it for the second time to make it into a one-shot non-canon short, if you will, featuring Crystal and Briella of the Metamorphosized to Malleability series, and which just went from there. Basically, I kept some of the things somewhat the same, but changed it up to fit into that world, fit into that environment. And when I did and the reason I bring this up, what I'm trying to say, the reason I'm bringing this up is because I've realized, how much I actually missed doing these kind of things. Like, I can still do videos, save up what I'm doing, like save up my written work, take a break, do a video, whatever. I can still do that. But I kind of realized how much I missed doing it because, here's the thing. When it comes to writing original fiction, or at least fiction based on something that you yourself might like. Like with Metamorphosized to Malleability, or the, Mystic Makeover series, or the Morphica series, whatever the case may be. You always want to try to write it to where it kind of correlates into that environment, even if it's like with the Crystal Briella one, a non-canon one-shot story. You want to try to incorporate it into that storyline so that maybe the original creators, of the characters will look at what you've done, even if it's a non-canon one-shot, and be like, huh, that's interesting. Maybe I should incorporate that or some of that into the ongoing series. And that's something that honestly, has been going on for years, for generations. It's been going on for years, for generations, believe it or not. I mean, when you take a look at a lot of, established works from comic books, mainstream comic books of Marvel and DC, to a lot of things that you would see on television, like, some of your favorite live action shows or movie franchises. Sometimes a fan could just write a fanfic, if you will, based on what they see, and then maybe as for fun or to show how much they are a fan, they might email it, message it, if you will, to either one of the actors or actresses in the film, or maybe even one of the directors, writers, or producers, and maybe any one of those will look at that and be like, yeah, it's a nice little story, and ooh, I like this concept they put in there. Maybe I could suggest we put it into this actual, into the actual official, story itself. Whether it's a movie, live action show, whatever the case, animated, whatever the case may be. And, again, that's what's kind of fun about doing these kind of stories, because, even if you are a fan of that fictional work itself, and you're wanting it to possibly, or hope for it possibly to be picked up for maybe something like an adult animated series. Hold on for a sec. Like I said, it's even when you're a fan of something that's fictional, that you hope, as I was trying to mention before that interruption, you would hope gets picked up maybe by a service like Netflix, or not Crunchyroll, but HBO Max or Hulu, whoever, as an adult animated series. By still showing your support and kind of giving a bit of a one-shot story in return, is actually beneficial. It actually shows that you're willing to help out and contribute. I mean, I came on here several months ago and I said, and I asked the question, I talked about and asked the question, basically, would it be, beneficial if we helped out, our fellow artists, either by story or whatever? Because there are some people that I do follow on places like DeviantArt that, like Minor Dash Alterations, I know right now they're probably taking care of some personal business, working, whatever the case may be. But the one thing I've always liked about them was, the Demonica series. And I've always appreciated that. And that series is based off Mr. Internet Man's character. So I don't know if, and here's the thing too, going back to him as well. Like I said, I apologize if I was, if he watches this, I do apologize if I was a nuisance. I didn't mean to be, or anything like that last night. But I'm just wondering if something happened between the two, because the next part in the series was supposed to be centered mostly around the Demonica Veronica character. And I don't know if maybe Mr. Internet Man, shot that down. I don't know. I don't know if Minor Dash Alterations had ideas to go in certain directions with the character, and he said, no, we're not doing that. I don't know. I really don't know. So right now, that series is kind of at a position right now to where, as a fan, someone like me could contribute to it in their own unique way. I could contribute to it in my own unique way if I wanted to. But I don't know what's happening. I really don't. But the thing is though, like I said, even if I wanted to contribute, it shows that I'm willing to help out, as well as even if it's a one-shot deal. It shows that I'm willing to show how much of a fan I am of that story. And like I said, even when it's fiction based on, established OCs, or not OCs but IPs, if you will, it's still fun to do, because one thing about, getting back into writing or typing up stories is you can show off your creativity. You can show it off. I mean, I remember several years. And I looked this up on SoFurry because I have an account there, SoFurry.com, and I looked this up, and it was about a decade ago, that I did this 3-part story, based on Sally Acorn and Bunny Raboff from the Sonic series, and I was like, I just looked, because I was looking for ideas basically to add to some of the stories I was doing yesterday, or some of the revises. And I saw that, and I was like, man, it's been that long. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it that it had been that long. It had been over a decade. So, yeah, it's just really amazing to see, go back and to see, I should say, what I wrote there, and to see how creative, little weirdly creative I was, during certain moments in that 3-part series, but how creative and free I felt doing that. And that's what kind of helped me get back into doing this. And also the fact that I've been thinking about doing it, because I've had my family kind of tell me, kind of suggest, I should say, not tell me, but suggest that I should do more, writing. I should do more, typing or something like that, or at least, stuff like that, so I can keep my mind occupied, and let the time pass that way. And the more I thought about it, what I'm trying to get at, the more I thought about it, the more I realized, they're right. I need to do that. And for the past several days, past week or so, I was thinking about, okay, how would I, do a story based on Morphica and Demonica? How would I do that? And started picturing it in my mind, and and then yesterday, I just let my fingers, do the typing, do the talking, if you will. I just let them do the talking, and that was it. So I just started letting them doing that, and that was it. And, thankfully I have Microsoft Word now. I know that's kind of surprising to hear, but here's the thing. Even though I had a job and everything, the Microsoft Word deal, I didn't, for some odd reason, I couldn't really afford to put that, into, my account, because I'll have it automatically taken out of my original bank account, because I never know if I might not have the funds in there, or, or what. So, even though I had a good job, sometimes I wouldn't work that long, I wouldn't work that many hours, that many days, and thus my check wouldn't be that big unless we had a bonus coming. But point is, long story short, long story short, getting back into the creativity of it, as well as coming up with these ideas for these comic commissions that I've had AZ do based around his Morphica character. It feels great. It feels really great to do that and get back into that groove. Now, does that mean I'm going to constantly do it every day? Who knows? It may not be every day, but it might be every once in a while. But it felt great. It felt really great to kind of tell a story, even if it's short and everything, and do it in a way that, I should say, that makes it, readable and understandable in its own way, even if it's a non-canon one-shot, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I got back into writing, and maybe what I'll do is I'll print out the stories, and you guys can view them like that, because I don't know if you'll be able to view them any other way unless I print them out and then I edit it, and then that way you could read it that way or something like that. So, but anyway, yeah, I really enjoyed getting back into that, and maybe we might see more maybe I might do more, I should say, in the future. But let me know what you guys think in the comments and the live chat during premiere. Have any of you guys kind of had that moment to where you've taken a break for a while, and then after maybe commissioning somebody for a unique, one shot or two shot idea, whatever the case may be, artistic wise or writing wise, that it got you back into that groove. Let me know down below in the comments as well as in the live chat during the premiere. And I will talk to you later. God bless. Take care. I'm out.